everyone, welcome. It's been a while since I put together one of these videos, so I thought I would, and tell you what's coming up here this week. By the way, I have no way of knowing if you guys enjoy these videos or not. So if you get a chance to shoot over a comment, let me know one way or the other. It takes a while to put these together, and I certainly hope they are of benefit to you and at least give you a connection with me. And if you have any questions, as always, you know how to reach me, and I will get back to you as soon as possible with any questions, comments about the class, about your career, about the industry, or any way that I can help you. That's what I'm here for. So this week we're going to talk about tourism, and this happens to be a newfound passion of mine as I've gotten further along in this industry, because I have traveled all over the world, with the odd exception of New York City. So I've kind of come along the evolutionary chain, if you will, of learning more about tourism. And in this particular chapter, this particular lesson, we're going to go through the basics of the tourism industry. And something you need to understand: tourism and hospitality in and of itself is anywhere from 10 to 12% of the global GDP. That's a whole lot. So this industry that relies heavily on tourism is important to the economy. And we'll talk about this in this chapter. The other part of tourism that I want you to understand is this textbook was written pre-pandemic. And since the pandemic is over, we have seen an explosion in the tourism business. We have also seen quite a few migration to what we call experience tourism or experience hospitality. That is, we want to get culturally and ingrained into the locations that we're going to, or the destinations. Now, you've often been to places, or you've heard people talk about where do the locals go? So you'll ask a bartender, you'll ask a maitre d', you'll ask a taxi driver, an Uber driver, where do the locals go? That's where I want to go. And it's less packaged deals when you go on a vacation or something like that, and you get into the immersion of the local culture, the local foods, the people, the songs, all the five senses again that are touched. You get that, and we call that experience hospitality. We don't touch on that in this chapter, but I want you to be aware of it, because it is one of the biggest growing segments of this industry of tourism specifically. And I tell you what, personally, I'm jumping into this. And next year, which I may have mentioned, I'm going to climb Kilimanjaro, and I'm also doing Everest Base Camp. So one is in February as of now, and the other one, Everest Base Camp, is in May. Follow me on social media, because I've got a bunch of videos that are out and coming out, and they will relate to specifically this chapter. So I will be using this in future 1603 classes. So let me run through this real quick. Of course, it's historic here. They'll talk a little bit about how the travel component started in Europe, and how the rail system over there, it's much more popular over there than it is here in the States. Also, travel in Asia, rail travel is much more popular than the travel by car and bus. Take into account that this was, again, written before the pandemic. Now, it is tough to find a good rental car at a decent price, or at least in pre-pandemic prices. But there are certain websites out there that are doing rideshare almost, so you can rent somebody's car, if you want, and it's much cheaper. I can't remember the name of the website off the top of my head. Anyhow, we'll talk about hubs in here. They talk about cruise ships, the day in the life of a cruise director for Holland America. If you have not been on a cruise before, Holland America is one of the top out there, and study how they operate, because they're one of the best in class. And the 21st century, they talk about a little bit here, and the economy, the economics of of the tourism business. The multiplier effect. I laugh at when we talk about this because any given economist that is tasked with determining the multiplier, you'll get, if you have 5 economists working on this, you'll have 5 different answers. But they do follow a kind of rules of thumb, and they'll go over this as well in this chapter. Let's see, tourism director, National Office of Tourism's, travel agencies, so on and so forth. Business travel, social and cultural impact of tourism. When I went to Tanzania, the entire economy was based largely on safaris and Mount Kilimanjaro. They call her the Queen, the mountain itself, for a reason, because it supplies the area with an economic engine. All right, people, it's the destination. It's reason people go there. There's over 2,000 registered tour guides for the mountain itself. A fraction of them are full-blown companies that provide good services, whole spectrum of services. But then you have the entire safari piece. Now, if you haven't seen any of the photos and videos I've put out there on the safari, I encourage you to take a look. They were amazing. Okay, the one that I want you to focus on is this corporate profile of G Adventures, and it is on page 382 and 383. They're a Canadian company that focus on what I was calling the experience hospitality, the experience tourism, and they've done a very good job. The owner of this out of Canada has been awarded several awards, Entrepreneur of the Year, those types of things, because he's latched onto this experience tourism. Another group I want you to look at, and this is a group that I work with and I say work with, I have used them several times and I'm in communication with them often, is Follow Alice, followalice.com. They are a bespoke, I think is one of the lines they use. In other words, they tailor adventures to you, and you do get within the environment. They started with treks up Kilimanjaro, guided trips to Kilimanjaro. Then they expanded that, and now they are all over the planet. They are headquartered in South Africa, I believe, and they have an office in London. They, even one of their early trips, I guess you'd say, expeditions, was in Uganda, where you could go see the mountain apes, the gorillas. That's supposed to be fantastic. You literally trek out there into their home and you sit there and you watch them face to face. So you'll spend 4 or 5 days completely immersed in that type of trip. And from what I understand, it's an amazing trip. But they are a wonderful company. I'm an old guy. Those guys are extreme. They're your age. And if you are interested in, maybe looking at doing some work with them, let me know, because I've sent people over there for projects and those kind of things, and they're fantastic to work with. So anyhow, that's followalice.com, and look at G Adventures as well. So normal rhythm this week, and let me know if you need anything. I am here, and have a great week, guys. Let me know if you need anything.